Hey, what's up? I'm RJ McCollum, and for those of you that don't already know me, I'm a freelance web developer and I put content on the web to help other freelancers just like you. In this video series, I'm taking you along for the ride as I completely rebrand my freelance company. At this point, I have a business name, Levels, and I've gone ahead and designed a little logo, something that I can work off of. So that really just leaves one kind of last little step to get that foundational stuff set, so that way I can move on to the fun stuff like designing and putting together a site and getting the business out there. And that's what today's video is going to be about. Today, I'm going to be focused on 3 different things. We're going to be setting up the business as an actual LLC, making sure that the business exists in the real world. And we're going to be doing some technical stuff like deciding on a domain name, getting email set up, and all the super exciting, fun stuff when you think about creating a business. Here comes the disclaimer. I, RJ McCollum, am not in any way, shape, or form a legal, business, whatever you want to call it, expert, and chances are you probably don't want to listen to me. So when it comes to forming your own business, you need to check with your own state laws and all of that fun stuff. I am not an expert. Okay, glad we got that out of the way. When it comes to making this business a real deal in the world, meaning that it actually exists, I've decided to go ahead and create Levels as an LLC. Of course, when you start a business, you have a lot of different ways that you can create a business, incorporate a business, whatever. It's actually really confusing because you don't know what is the best route to go, and there's all these different opinions of you should do this or you should do that. It's really hard to navigate when you do this for the first time. I want to share real quick with you just the 3 particular reasons that I've chosen to move forward with an LLC for Levels. Reason 1. An LLC is the one that I seem to understand the most. It's the one that I didn't have to really kind of strain my brain figuring out how does this work in terms of running a business, working for myself, and an LLC is what made sense and I feel comfortable with in terms of my understanding. Reason 2. I've set up and managed 2 other LLCs, so I'm actually really comfortable with the process of setting up and running the business. Reason 3. In my experience, managing the money aspect of a business is actually fairly straightforward when it comes to an LLC. Come tax time, I'm not scrambling to figure out all these different tax codes and all these different things. I've been through the process of handling finances for an LLC for a number of years, and again, I feel comfortable about it, so why change something if it's not broken? Those are the reasons I've decided to set up Levels as an LLC. Now, previously, anytime I've set up another business, it was in Arizona, the state where I lived. But right now, I live in Oklahoma, and that's where I've decided to file in. I'm not gonna worry about getting set up in Delaware or anything like that. Again, I'm gonna do what works best for me. I'm based out of Oklahoma. That is where I'm going to register my LLC. One of the things that I was actually really impressed with Oklahoma is I was able to file 100% online. Now, this could just be something that they recently implemented, but before I had to fill out paperwork, I had to mail that paperwork in with a check or some sort of payment method, wait when I got the information back. It was just cumbersome and it wasn't as fast as you'd like it to be. Oklahoma, I was able to do everything online, from searching to the business name online and getting immediate feedback of what was available and what wasn't available, and of course being able to actually file online. In fact, I was so impressed that within 24 hours I had literally filled out my articles of incorporation, and the state of Oklahoma had gone ahead and registered the business, sent me my seal, and everything was done in 24 hours. I was pretty impressed how fast that went. So when looking for a name for the business, obviously I was looking for Levels, and then when you set up an LLC, you have to have some sort of LLC designation. So for me, that's always been business name, comma, LLC. I was really surprised when Levels LLC was registered early this year in May, so I was literally just a couple months away from getting that direct one-to-one name match. Not a big deal though. What I went ahead and did is set it up as Levels Creative LLC. Once the LLC was registered, I was able to, just as quick as setting up the LLC, if not quicker, I was able to go to the IRS online and get my employee identification number, commonly referred to as an EIN. So at this point, Levels Creative LLC is 100% legit in terms of being registered in the state of Oklahoma and having an EIN with the federal government. I hope I haven't lost you so far. I understand that creating a business and doing these steps of the process are not the most exciting things, and translating that through video is really just me talking. So I apologize, but if you're still with me, thanks. Let's move forward. Obviously, for a business to exist online, you have to have a domain name. And if you're anything like me, you probably search domain names at least on a daily basis and have a far larger collection than you really need of all these potential or failed ideas. But with Levels, obviously, I needed to get a domain name. Now, when it came to the domain, just like the name Levels, I wanted it to be quick, short, easy to spell, and not run into the things that I've run into with my current company, We Do Dev. So naturally, I was looking for a domain name to be Levels, and I wasn't married to any one particular TLD or ending like .com, .io, whatever. In doing searches for my domain name, like I said, the common TLDs like .com, .io, .co, all those things were taken. It's really hard to find nowadays a one word, especially common word like Levels, that is available. I did find a TLD that I actually really wanted to get, and that was .xyz. I really liked just kind of the playfulness of it, and it wasn't particular to any one thing like a lot of new TLDs are. Unfortunately, levels.xyz had already been registered, but the domain was up for sale. So I reached out to the person who had it up for sale, who wanted about 90 bucks for it. I said, hey, yeah, I'll give you 90 bucks for it. Long story short, they came back and said, nope, I want 360 bucks for it. And I said, I don't want the domain name that bad. I kept the search up and I actually registered the .is or .is TLD for Levels. So the domain name is levels.is. Just like XYZ, I liked not necessarily the playfulness of the .is, really just kind of the ambiguity that comes along with that. Levels.is. So just like when I was setting up the domain name, I wanted Levels to be fluid so it could kind of go with whatever was happening with the business. And I think the domain name perfectly matches that. Plus, it's super short. There's going to be no confusion in terms of how to spell it or anything like that. I was really happy, and for $30, I got a good domain name, better than I was originally looking for. Business, legally registered, check. Domain name, check. So what comes next? Well, a lot of things come next, right? I decided to very quickly set up email. Now, you know how to set up email, you have email, why even bother talking about email on the video? Now, the whole point of this series is for me to take you along the journey of me setting up this new freelance company. Part of that is going to be communicating with clients, and the best way to do that and the most common way to do that is through email. I didn't want to leave this out. I want to let you know how I go about setting up my email, because it could be helpful for somebody just deciding to set up and not necessarily understanding the many different options when it comes to setting up email. For me, over the years, I've always really enjoyed using Google Apps as the email provider for my domain names. I'm not the only one, obviously, to use Google Apps. It's used by millions of businesses all over the world. But I wanted to give you just a couple quick bullet points as to why I choose Google Apps. First off, this isn't a free service, at least not anymore. It used to be free and they had paid plans, but now it's 100% paid. It's $5 per user per month. So depending on the amount of people you have in your company, it could actually become quite expensive. However, this is what I do to utilize one user, so I'm only paying $5 a month for a robust service like Google Apps. Google Apps obviously allows you to set up what's called a catch-all email account, meaning that if somebody sends an email to an address that isn't actually set up, it will be redirected to a specific address that you specify. So the great news for a one-person business or a very small business is that you can still utilize email addresses such as contact, info, sales, whatever you need it to be, and it will all filter back to your main email address, in my case, rj@levels.is. Overall though, the main reason that I choose Google Apps as my email service provider is because the robust ecosystem that comes along with it. So for one, you get a Google account and you get a lot of default services that are tied to it. So you get things like Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Analytics, everything associated with this one account, and you get to keep everything nice and organized. Now, like I already said, I set up the email address rj@levels.is. So I want your help. I want you to help me test this and make sure that I'm actually being able to send and receive email from this. I'd love for you to take 1 second, shoot a quick email, rj@levels.is, and let me know what you think of the video series so far. More importantly though, let me know if there's anything particular that you think I've left out, or if you'd like me to cover in future videos. At this point, the foundation for Levels is solid. It's a legit business and 100% on the government's radar at this point. Since the groundwork is laid, it's actually time for me to get my hands a little bit dirty and really step into that creative process. That means that in the next video, I'm actually going to start doing some wireframes for what's going to become the Levels website. I'm going to have to give some thought to who the ideal client for Levels is, and I'm really going to have to work that into the structure and the copy of the website. But for me, it's really important to do that without being trendy or corny or just confusing in general. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. If you have any feedback for me, like I said, you can leave a comment in the comment section below. And until next video, we'll see you next time. Peace.